Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tessa and today we are talking about fucking first times. FFTs. This is a term that I heard for the first time this year and it just resonated so intensely. You've been new at something before and it feels uncomfortable. It's not fun being the new person who knows the least, who's trusted the least, who has the least amount of skill, who has the least amount of knowledge. But how do you become the expert? You have to be the novice, you have to be the beginner first. And it all starts with fucking first times. Now, okay, so I actually had to pause there for a second and decide which direction do I want to take this video in. And I'd love to make it super broad and super relatable, but what made me want to record this video is experiencing FFTs as a nurse, because I'm going through it again. We had it as a new grad. We had it in Australia as an agency nurse. I had it when I moved into a hospital in Australia. Had it when I moved into labor as a nurse here, and now I'm having it as I'm transitioning into more of a lead role as a nurse here. And I do believe that these concepts are going to be broadly applicable, but know that if something isn't directly making sense, it's because this is what I'm relating it to in my mind. But anyways, FFTs, fucking first times. Can't become the expert without being the beginner first. Well, what's so bad about being a beginner? Well, the beginner tells themselves that they lack confidence, that they lack experience and knowledge. They aren't well established with their coworkers or with their ideal client. It is easy to lose motivation or to get down on yourself. When you make mistakes, it is a lot easier as a beginner to internalize that. Well, I'm a failure, I'm not good at this, therefore I should just stop trying. It's not really worth it. I mean, I'm not good. The truth of the matter is that without making these mistakes and without learning and growing from them, you can never evolve into the experienced person. But when you're the new person, you don't often think about all of the positive attributes that come along with that as well. When you're the new kid, you're usually really eager to learn and really eager to work. You don't have bad habits. You're a blank slate and you can only get better from where you are. You can only learn more, and I think that's a really valuable asset. So making mistakes and learning and growing as a beginner eventually is going to evolve you into an experienced person. What are some pros of being experienced? Well, your confidence is a heck of a lot better. They have a great foundational knowledge base, and they're usually not so burnt out that they don't want to keep learning. These people are still wanting to keep their practice recent or keep their knowledge up to date so that they can keep excelling and keep growing in their field. They're making a lot less mistakes. They still make mistakes, but when they do, they're coping with it a lot better because they're just more experienced with it. And when you're messing up less, you become more comfortable and you become more confident, and it generally just becomes a lot easier to believe in yourself. You're in a place where you're starting to respect yourself and your knowledge and your place, and that's palpable by the people around you too. You're starting to become accepted by your coworkers, or your ideal client is starting to really warm up to you. It's a good place to be. It feels steady and it feels stable. Of course, there are drawbacks to being an experienced person as well. You might be starting to develop habits that aren't the greatest. You might be a little bit more resistant to change. You might be a little bit rubbed the wrong way when a younger person or somebody else is bringing up a piece of knowledge or a different practice that contradicts what you do. Experienced people can slip into autopilot, which can be a good thing, but can also be a bad thing. There are times when attention to detail is absolutely detrimental. And of course, when the experienced person continues to grow and to listen and to digest and to develop their field and their skills and their knowledge and their practice, someday they're going to become the expert. The expert is a person who has reached this level of confidence, of comfort, of knowledge that allows them to practice almost effortlessly. Don't get me wrong, there of course are going to be days and moments where you have harder, challenging things, but I'm talking about the everyday, the flow. When you're an expert, your workflow is likely pretty optimized. Your stress level is low, your anxiety level is low, and the amount of fucks you give is low. People respect you and they turn to you for advice or knowledge. are the good things about being the expert. And it feels good. It feels, actually, I can't really say how it feels to be the expert because I really don't feel like I'm at that stage in my life in anything right now. But I am excited to say that I'll get there. The downside of being the expert is that those bad habits you were working on are absolutely solidified now. You're probably resistant to change. You've seen so much shit over the past years that your opinion might be a little bit jaded or sometimes negative. Because you've seen the way that things progress and typically get complicated over time, there are arbitrary things that you don't like to do because they don't make sense to you. Ultimately, experts can become a bit stubborn. If you're not working on keeping an open mind and being open to the fact that yes, there's always new knowledge and evidence emerging, and yes, somebody who is 20 years younger than me can bring valid topics and conversations and knowledge to the table. No matter what stage you're in, if you're a beginner, if you're experienced, if you're the expert, it's important to stay humble. The second you start getting full of yourself or getting ahead of yourself is when you mess up. Be kind to everybody, no matter what. And remember, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't know the answer to it, and if you've critically thought about it and you still can't find the answer, that's not a stupid question. Likewise, if somebody is asking you something that you feel is a no-brainer, remember that at one time it wasn't. I think it's really important to have both perspectives. It's important to be the beginner, to be the fucking first timer, to know what it feels like to sit in those shoes and to feel that uncertainty and that anxiety and that discomfort. Likewise, it's important to be the expert, to know what it feels like to feel confident, to feel sure of yourself, to feel stable. And to feel everything in between. Alright, that's where I'm going to cut this video off this week, hoping that if you are a fucking first timer right now, that this was able to give you a breath. You're going to get through it, and especially if you keep tackling this day by day or week by week, whatever size bites you're taking off, you'll get through it. You're going to become the experienced person, and if you keep at it, you're going to become the expert. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next Tuesday.